Hello everybody, Max Monty 1516 here, back again with another countdown to Christmas review. So today we're going to be taking a look at both models of Mike. So let's get into it. The first model I have of Mike was introduced all the way back in 1998 and was actually on shelves until 2005, which a lot of people don't know, but this Mike actually did have quite the long shelf life. So starting off, Mike is a very simplistic design. Now again, Mike was one of the Railway Series only characters at the time, and Learning Curve definitely took a more Railway Series inspired approach, especially with his face here. As you can see, that's very clearly based off of the illustrations of Mike, and honestly, I think it looks really good. That's very accurate to how he looks in the books. And then, of course, moving on to the side here, Mike has some very simplistic detail, or I guess not really much detail at all. Mike's got his nameplate right there in the center of the boiler. He has a yellow dome, and his firebox is a different piece, as you can see. He's also got two cab windows and a blue square with a yellow circle in it. And then moving on to the tender here, he's got two different bits of lining. The bottom one has the word Arlesdale right there in the center. And then, of course, here's a better look at the other side, and it is the exact same. So Mike's tender is actually pretty tall with its coal load there. I'm just kind of noticing that, when I hold him like this. But overall, Mike, again, is very simplistic. There's not a whole lot to say. Although, honestly, I do think he actually looks pretty good. There's nothing wrong with this model. And I totally understand why a lot of people do prefer this one. Personally, I don't, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, that is the original version of Mike, and I wish I had more to say about him, but I really don't. This Mike was actually in a ton of sets. A surprising amount of sets for Mike, a Railway Series only character. My best guess is that Learning Curve just had a lot of unused stock from Mike, and so he was thrown into 4, 5, 6 sets, and that's probably why he was sold all the way up until 2005. But anyway, Mike was again sadly discontinued in 2005, but then 10 years later, he came back. So let's talk about that model next. Yes, lo and behold, in the year 2015. Mattel actually brought Mike, along with Rex and Bert, into the television series in full CGI. And, of course, we did get Mike and Bert, not Rex for some reason, in wooden railway form. And here is Mike's new wooden railway model. Now, Mike is a miniature engine, and he's very small. So Mattel decided that, or I guess the designers decided that it'd be better to make Mike, shorter, I guess, lengthwise shorter. And I do understand the sentiment with that, and honestly, I kind of prefer it, if I'm being completely honest. I know it makes less sense, because Mike is supposed to be longer than an engine like Thomas, per se, but he's just a lot smaller, in stature. Although, they did do a pretty good job at actually making Mike look smaller, because, as you can see here, he's got a very thin boiler and smoke box and everything, and his cab is also quite stubby, as you can see there. And the tender overall isn't too different. But anyway, starting with Mike's model here, I'll just quickly bring the older model up to compare. So looking on the side here, Mike has gained red wheels, although mine are a tad bit sun-faded, as you can see there. But Mike did gain red wheels, as he did in CGI as well. And then I'm just going to compare the faces there. Honestly, both of these faces are super accurate to what they're supposed to be. So it kind of is down to what you prefer, or how Mike looks, I guess. Personally, I prefer the CGI face just because it looks a bit more stylized, or I guess it fits more with the rest of the range at the time. But of course, Mike's nameplate is moved properly in between the first two stripes there. And speaking of stripes, he actually has them now across his boiler. Mike's dome isn't as round, and it's also gold now. And of course, how could I forget the lamp right there above his funnel? And then of course, Mike also still has his firebox piece here. He's lost what I believe is meant to be his safety valve. It's no longer there. And then on the side, the detail is mostly the same, except the cab windows have gotten a bit smaller, and there's no outline on that yellow oval anymore. Now, moving to the tenders, I'll just bring these up here just like that. They're very similar, in terms of shape, detail. There's really not a whole lot to comment on, except the smaller box here has gotten, or I guess the box on top has gotten smaller. So that's one thing, and then the box on the bottom has gotten bigger. And the Arlesdale logo has gotten a lot more depth. It looks a lot better, in my opinion. It's got this blue outline now. It's got a bit of shading on there. This looks a lot cleaner, in my opinion. And also, I just overall think the whole model of 2015 Mike is more crisp, and I think that's why I like it more. But again, both of these are fantastic. I really don't have much else to compare. But overall, these guys are both really good models, and that's pretty much all I have to say. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day. Maximility 1516 signing out.